Have you ever watched a movie that was so bad that it immediately ruined your entire day? Because luckily that wasn't my experience watching Predator Badlands. This movie is an absolute blast, so here's my full spoiler-free thoughts on the best and worst parts of the film. Most of the Predator movies focus on the human characters trying to survive a predator hunting them, or it focuses on the humans hunting the predators themselves, but this movie completely flips the script, and we actually focus on a Predator main character named Deck, and he's viewed as the weakest member of his clan, so he sets off on a mission to go and kill one of the deadliest creatures in the universe on this very dangerous planet to prove to himself and his clan that he is worthy. And on this other planet, while he's hunting for this super deadly creature, he runs into Elle Fanning's character, who is a synthetic android robot, and she actually plays two different characters in this movie. But from the very start, this movie is already like going at 110% with the action. And I know a lot of people were worried about the action and fight scenes in this movie since it's the first PG-13 Predator film. It's not R-rated like all the other ones, but trust me, it is still wildly entertaining, and it does a very smart trick. The only reason it's PG-13 is because all the violence is pretty much from them hunting monsters or other synthetic robots. So while no, it's not as intense as previous Predator movies, and it doesn't really have that kind of like horror element like the original Predator and a movie like Prey has, but it makes up for it by being incredibly entertaining with its fight scenes. The movie honestly really reminds me of like The Mandalorian. It feels heavily inspired by Star Wars, even some Dune elements like the soundtrack at the very beginning. I was like, oh yeah, they definitely are just trying to make like a Star Wars Dune hybrid with this film, but it honestly kind of works. This is really just like a straight up sci-fi adventure monster slaying movie, which is right up my alley. And I will say, like, the first 40 to 50 minutes of this film do definitely try to jam in a lot of like Joss Whedon-esque humor is what I like to call it. Like, if you don't know, he did the first Avengers movie, and I do love the first Avengers movie, don't get me wrong, but that style of like quippy humor doesn't work in everything, and Predator is one of those franchises it just feels super out of place in. Like, they're definitely just trying to make this a more mainstream franchise and appeal to a younger audience between that and the PG-13 rating. And like I said, the action's still great in that first hour. It's just the tone I wasn't a fan of, but luckily the last hour of this movie has a huge tone shift. It gets a lot darker. It really locks in. The action really just keeps getting crazier as the movie goes on. I think there's some really solid and unpredictable turns in the story that all really work for me. There's not really many acting performances I can praise in this movie because pretty much everything's like a CGI gleep glop in this film besides Elle Fanning, who, like I said, plays two different characters. And even though I did find some of the jokes from one of her characters very annoying, that's on the writers, not her. She did a great job. She really just does a great job at differentiating these two different characters, making them both feel completely separate. And honestly, this has me super excited for the future of the Predator franchise because this is the third film in this franchise directed by Dan Trachtenberg. He did Prey, which is a great movie, and I haven't seen Predator Killer of Killers yet, the animated film from earlier this year. But I think a balance between more movies like Prey that are more deeply raw and human stories that kind of focus on more the horrifying elements of being hunted by these predators, balanced out with some of these more sci-fi adventure films with the predators as the main characters, could honestly be perfect going forward. Like, sign me up for a sequel to Badlands immediately. Ultimately, this is just a really fun popcorn action movie. You're gonna have an absolute blast with it. I give it a really strong 8 out of 10. If you've seen the film, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and click the playlist above my head to see my other movie reviews on the channel.